Hey, Jules Vegan, and as always, welcome to my channel. And for those of you who are new, I know you can benefit. So shout out to a viewer, dare I say, who was saying, Jules, you seemed like you were really sad last night or on yesterday's video, or maybe just tired. I don't know, but just wanted to check on you. Okay, I'm in love. Thank you so much. That was so kind. My story yesterday, of course, was that I did my video at about 12:45 in the morning. I didn't want to start it off by saying the time. I thought maybe no one will notice my sheer exhaustion. So I was kind of proud of myself for, not mentioning it. But the other thing was I had just found out that my nephew Dean, who, if you followed me, poor guy, he, was in a coma after ODing on Super Bowl Sunday, almost 2 years ago. It'll be 2 years in February, and he has come a long way, but his limbs don't work. They work. He can scratch his face and stuff, but not with intention. It's like an automatic response. So he can't use his limbs yet. And I know why God is not letting him, because he still has an addictive, compulsive personality, which, given the ability, he would actually act on the minute he got out. So he had a really bad infection on his big toe, and that was like a month ago, and I took photos and, made a fuss about it, and he went to the ER and seemingly got on antibiotics and got help. I went back to visit 1 month later, and it's a zillion times worse, and he's not even on antibiotics. So I threw another fit, and through all of that, in God's grace, he was admitted to another hospital. And we'll have to see. I pray that there's an advocate there for him. He is so beautiful. But anyway, all of that was kind of weighing on me. So thank you for checking on me. Otherwise, I'm doing fine. Thank you. All right. So I'm in the middle of a series on overcoming fear. I'm using For Today by Overeaters Anonymous. And in the index in the back, there were 10 different reads on fear. This is number 9. And you certainly don't have to watch them all, and there's no order to them. It's just reflecting on how fear kind of creeps into our lives, and certainly into my life. And I have been kind of dealing with something, and I'm just trying to reflect on it. So this is a really good one. It always starts with a quote and then goes on to the content of just kind of exploring on a deeper level what the quote was. And finally, it has an affirmation, if you will, at the end. So it reads, only in a hut built for the moment can one live without fear. And that's by Como no Kome. Probably slaughtered that name, but it's K-A-M-O, camo, no, and then C-H-O-M-E-I, excuse me, which I would think is Kome, or it could be Chome. Anyway, so interesting. Only in a hut built for the moment can one live without fear. I'm sure that's profound in some way, because it's too profound for me. For me, if a hut was built in the moment, it would probably be a ton of adrenaline and, oh my gosh, we're in so much trouble, we better create shelter. So that would be scary for me. And also, if it was built in the moment, the chances that it met all of the safety protocol is very small, and therefore it may not be stable. That's where my head goes. Even though I'm not a person who contemplates, the unknown and the what ifs, and I'm not really that much of a person. I usually just show up, walk through it, exhale on the other side, and that's usually after I've survived whatever it was that I let my guard down and lose my program. So let's go on. It says fear comes from projecting, right? My mind does not say, this is a fine, pain-free, worry-free moment in which there is nothing to fear. Therefore, enjoy it. Yeah, what would that take? Instead, it leaps ahead, conjuring up all sorts of mishaps and calamities. I so get that. I'm optimistic to a fault in almost every setting in my life, but regarding myself, sadly. But seriously, the tornado already happened. The whole neighborhood has been flattened. And I'm still standing there saying, oh my gosh, isn't the sky so pretty? Did you see the rain? Oh, wait, what? Yeah, I'm one of those. And I know it's a protection thing because I was raised in a lot of chaos. Not just because there were 13 people in the house and usually 3 or 4 extra, or that my parents were screamers and my father was an alcoholic, though a professional one. He never missed a day of work in 35 years. But at night he would comfort himself with alcohol. It wasn't just all of that. It's just that when you have those many dynamic personalities and that much going on at all times, and so much competitiveness, which was going on in my home as well, and just the busyness of it all, when it finally quieted down as the children began to leave home and I was about 18, I didn't know what to do with it. Silence is deafening, right? I didn't know what to do with it. And so I created some of my own craziness just to feel at home. You might understand that. All right, so as difficult as it is to shed old habits, I keep remembering the relief and freedom and joy that came the first time I tried abstaining, one day at a time, and not worrying about what would happen tomorrow. Yeah, that's beautiful. That is what the 12-step program is. And we've all seen that a million times where it says, yesterday's in the past, tomorrow isn't known, today is the present, and that's why it's a gift. Of course, I'm paraphrasing, but that's probably familiar to most of you. And in the 12-step program, and certainly in the Bible, right? It just reminds us again and again and again and again that we only have today. Tomorrow is not promised. And we've certainly seen that with the COVID and, millions of people around the world dying, but certainly in the United States alone, nearly 700,000 people dying in a very short period of time. Let's be fair. In a year and a half, right? So people are kind of acutely aware that we only have right now. And I have to remind myself that a lot. But yes, I certainly remember the joy of being abstinent in Overeaters Anonymous and being able to be in the present. I lost that. Certainly being raw vegan and having a daily plan and staying in the plan, in the moment. I lost that. I really just went through, I know it was just survival. There was so much going on. It was just survival, but I didn't come up for air until I was like 20 pounds heavier, completely without my tools, and just going, wait, what? I can't believe it. But my capacity to deny, my capacity to ignore, my capacity to just go into a survival mode, put myself, it's funny because on a positive note, they say keep horsey blinders on, right? So that you're not distracted by what's around you. But at the same time, the blinders are on. And it does make you just look ahead. And I didn't invite any of the reality checks in. And I am struggling to get it back. But praise God, I'm clean today. And have a great plan for tomorrow. And absolutely love my raw vegan protocol more than anything else. Every cell in my body sings with joy when I am eating God's food. That is straight up. But the only enemy I have is me. There's no one in my life. I could say, sure, my husband buys all the nonsense. My husband offers me, to go to a restaurant every flippin' day. He always has his stuff. Right now, as I suggested yesterday, school is so out of control that I'm just calling it Howl Easter. All the way from Halloween to Easter, I have to decide what is my truth, what is my food, what is my why. Because no one's going to. What's sweet though, they always have fruit now. And they always say, make sure Juliana gets her fruit. Even the cafeteria sees me and says, Miss McCants, we saved you an orange. I'm in love, okay? So something's out there. So really, the only person sabotaging me is me. I'm so past the blame game. So past it, right? I mean, just like what I said with my health, that I wasn't going to go to a doctor a single time more when I knew that I'm the one who is causing the problem by my actions, through my food, through my lifestyle, you know? So, yeah. All right, so this is that, again, what can become an affirmation. But for today, my life consists of single moments. I occupy them one at a time, savoring the fullness of each, and find there is no room for fear. And of course, there's so many acronyms for fear, and we're familiar with so many. But it's beautiful to think that if we are in this single moment, again, yesterday's gone, tomorrow doesn't exist, I'm only in the present. Whenever I'm completely in the present and super busy, I never even think about food. I never even have a compulsive anything. I'm just completely so engaged with the creativity and the joy and the fun of it that, you know, I forget to even use the restroom or get a drink of water. Like, you know, it's in the moment. It's all encompassing. And that is, I think overall, that's a tremendous blessing. There's no doubt that, again, in not having the boundaries of caring for myself in that moment, it can turn on me. So I think when I just got engaged in just going crazy with food and not using any of my tools or anything else, I was in the moment of the insanity. I was in the moment of, I don't know how to navigate life right now, but I know how to do this. And I've done that so many times in my life, right? As I suggested, you know, losing and gaining 100 pounds 6 times in my adult life, losing and gaining 15 pounds, you know, 7 times in the last 17 months. You know, it's never about, well, my body can't lose weight. Yes, it can, but it can gain weight. And you seem to be equally good at both, right? So I'm grateful for going through this little 10-day process, because when I'm not doing my Jules Blessed Vegan video, which I love to do, at different times in the day, it'll come to me. You know, that quote comes to me again, or the idea, you know, I know the acronym for fear, and I certainly have videos that I've made many times on face everything and recover. Face everything and recover. You know, we understand that the only way out is through. I get all of that, you know, but there's a difference between the emotional and the mental. The mental clarity, I can explain it all. I can teach it all. I'm a teacher. But the emotional, which so often reduces us to the age of the trauma. So sometimes when people come from trauma, and as blessed as I am, I certainly do, we resort back to the age of that we were whenever it is transpired. And my traumas vary. I mean, the sexual abuse traumas are in one compartment. The physical abuse is in another compartment. The neglect or verbal abuse are in their own compartment. So I never look at all as one. But when I get into that, those may vary. It may be 3 years old for one situation, 6 years old for another, 12, and even 26, right? When I was raped at 26. So it's just really interesting, but none of those are this age. And so my strength and freedom is when I can separate myself, be in the moment, and remind myself that in this time and place, I am completely safe. In this time and place, I am free. And that my body is protected. I mean, anything can happen, but it's certainly more protected than it was when I was 26, when I was 12, when I was 6, when I was 3, right? Okay, so here's the clean one, my friends. Only in a hut built for the moment can one live without fear. Como no chame. Fear comes from protection. My mind does not say, this is a fine pain. Oh, how's that funny? My bad. I said from protection. Yes. When I'm living in fear, I'm accidentally thinking that I'm protecting myself, but it's from a little kid's mindset. And little kids don't really know how to protect themselves, right? So at the very least, to find something like comfort or food that I can control seemed like a way of protecting myself, but it turned on me. Okay, let's go back. Fear comes from projection. My mind does not say, this is a fine, pain-free, worry-free moment in which there is nothing to fear. Therefore, enjoy it. Instead, it leaves ahead conjuring up all sorts of mishaps and calamities. As difficult as it is to shed old habits, I keep remembering the relief and freedom and joy that came the first time I tried abstaining one day at a time and not worrying about what would happen tomorrow. For today, my life consists of single moments. I occupy them one at a time, savoring the fullness of each, and find there is no room for fear. Super powerful. Something occurred to me in there. Yeah, I was thinking, and I just need to get, it's coming. Whatever it is coming. The wellness, the revelation, the freedom, it's coming. I'll just stick with that. It's coming. All right, my friends, like if you like, join us if you haven't, subscribe. Let me know in the comments below how I may support you. I am going to bed. Do I have more work to do? Of course. But isn't tomorrow another day, and isn't there always more work to do? Yes, there is. So I had a really crazy time just trying to get home. There was an accident, and God bless him 1,000 times, but it tied up the vein for me to get home, so I had to drive 5 miles to the right and go down that one instead. And when I went down that one instead, there was another accident, and I was just like crazy to get home before dark, which very much did not happen. But the horses were happy to be fed, the pig was happy to get food anyway, and the dogs, of course, were thrilled. And I still changed the bird cage. I took care of everybody, and then I took care of myself. And my husband wasn't home, but he was able to take care of himself where he was, and I was just happy to be clean, for the day. And it was a really big day. I told you we have a lot going on. We have a poster contest right now, and I stayed after to make it as perfect as it could be, because that's who I am. And I'll get there early in the morning to make sure the room's beautiful so we have our best chance. I have no intention of winning. It's no offense to my students. They did a great job, but it's political to a degree, and also some of their teachers took the time to actually paint their doors and things, whereas for us, we did the art by hand, and it's really cute, and I may share it as the icon tomorrow. Anyway, my friends, lots going on. I will be dressed great. I will make it through Friday. I'm already affirming I will make it through Friday. The Halloween parties, the parades, all the candy and junk, which is not my food. I'm already telling every ounce of my being that I will be successful, and more importantly, I will not make up for it later, which is a huge tendency of mine. Get through the emergency, breathe, and then sabotage yourself. I'm already affirming to the universe that will not be my story this time. All right, that's it. Until we talk again, best of all, know that you're blessed.